this is how I shoot all those photos. Hello and welcome. More than half the entire population love taking photos, and the majority of them enjoy taking photos at night. They love taking a photo of the landscape view of New York City, and they also love taking a photo of the streets of Los Angeles at night. In fact, one half of all the photos that are taken in low light are shot from smartphones, and there are a lot of you complaining about the quality of the photos taken in night mode. The quality of the photo is blurred, you need to work out on your dynamic range. But today's video is going to teach you how to shoot incredibly good low light photos. All those photos that are way so much better than when you use night mode to shoot your photos in low light. But before I'm gonna teach you how I shoot incredibly great low light photos, let me go ahead and give you guys a brief introduction about ISO and shutter speed, which is very common in DSLRs, point and shoot cameras. This is the ISO. It is simply your camera sensitivity to light. So the lower the ISO levels, the darker the photo will be. The higher the ISO levels, the brighter the photo will be. The shutter speed is the amount of time the shutter is open. It's actually the amount of time the camera is exposed to light. Shutter speed is typically measured in seconds. So that concludes that the higher the ISO levels of the camera, the photo will become brighter. The lower the ISO, the darker the photo will be. The higher the shutter speed levels of the camera, the appearance of the photo will be more blurred, and the lower the shutter speed of the camera, the appearance of the photo becomes clear. Let me go ahead and explain more about the characteristics of shutter speed. Let's say you might want to shoot a photo of a flying bird and you don't want that object to have this kind of blurry movement once you take them. So you need to decrease the shutter speed to its lowest, around 1/8,000th of a second, because that's the amount of time the shutter needs to be open to capture that photo. And you need just a high amount of ISO your camera can get, and that you can maintain the clarity of the photo of a moving flying bird. You might want to make sure that your shutter speed should be around lower than 1/1000th of a second, and that your ISO level should be higher than 2000. And that concludes that if your ISO levels is high and your shutter speed levels is low, it means that it is intended for shooting photos that have blurry movements. For example, a moving electric fan, you want to make sure that you want to take a photo of the electric fan and you still want to see the detail of the inside of the electric fan, and you don't want that blurry movement in that shot. So you might want to decrease the shutter speed all the way down to around more than 1/1000th of a second and increase your ISO levels. The higher the ISO and the higher the shutter speed, it is intended for shooting in low light. And that concludes the brief introduction of ISO and shutter speed. Now let me get into the tutorial. So I'm now currently thinking for a good spot for me to take that photo in low light. Maybe I can just head over to the kitchen and go outside. There's a doorway out to the garage, but let me go ahead and say that our garage doesn't seem to be clean. Everything is just chaos outside, so I think I can switch that light off. So right now the entire kitchen is totally dark, so this is where I will take my low light photo. So you will need two things, the tripod and the smartphone. So I don't have a proper tripod at the moment, so I'm currently using this LED ring light with the hand grip that is for selfies only, but this is for reference only. And here we go. You want to open up the camera application, you want to head on to the expert or pro mode, So if you don't have any expert or promote on your device, I'm gonna be linking down an application that I recommend in the description so that you can get more manual controls on your camera, especially for those Apple users which don't have the feature on their camera. So you wanna head over here. See, we've given 5 manual camera options that we have to adjust, but we're gonna adjust 3 of them. So you wanna head over to ISO and you wanna up it to its maximum, which can only go around a 3200. Your shutter speed must be above 4 seconds. So I just want to set my shutter speed into maximum, and then you want to make sure that your autofocus should be set into manual focus so that everything will look clean and that your focus will not be changed the whole time that your photo will be taking. So you want to head over and click that shutter button to start your shooting, and it will take 32 seconds to complete this process. So we're done, and here's the preview. As you can see, the photo looks like it's shot with a flash from the smartphone. Here's another example. This time I'm gonna be shooting an object which is close to the camera. So this time I'll be bringing my smartphone 3/4 of a meter away from the object. So at this time we're gonna be experimenting more about the autofocus. So we're gonna put the flash on from the camera, and we have to make sure that we need to calculate the amount of points from the autofocus. Right now it is being set at 0.80, which means it's now focusing to an object right now. So if it is the case, you want to make sure that you need to set the autofocus into manual focus, and this time you can disable your flash, and then you want to adjust your ISO so that it will be set manually, and your shutter speed into 32 seconds, and then take a photo. Wait for 32 seconds. And this will be the result. Here's what it looks like when it's shot with the night mode that is pre-installed on the camera of the smartphone. You see it's noisy, the quality doesn't seem to be as good as the manual night mode that I adjusted to get this shot. As you can see, there is a focus, there is a kind of a bokeh in the background of the photo of that object that I'm kind of focusing right now. Here are more couple shots that I've taken with the manual night mode that I adjusted compared to the night mode that is pre-installed on the camera of my smartphone. I compare the qualitative difference between the photo that I've shot with the manual night mode with adjusted ISO levels and adjusted shutter speed versus the photo that I've shot with the night mode that is pre-installed on the camera of my smartphone, and there is a big difference in terms of quality, dynamic range, and brightness. The photo that I've shot with the manual night mode is so much better. You can even adjust the focus of the photo. It's got better contrast, it's got better dynamic range, it's got better brightness, and overall it offers better low light performance on that photo compared to the photo that I've shot with the night mode that is pre-installed on the cell phone. It sucks. It only takes around 8 seconds for the process to take, thus maintaining just a decent shot. It offers noticeably less noise performance, less dynamic range, overall less low light performance on the photo. Here's my conclusion. It is so much noticeable that my photo that I've taken with the manual night mode is so much better than the photo that I've taken with the night mode that is already on the cell phone. So that pretty much concludes the tutorial about how I shoot incredibly good low light photos with just my smartphone. It takes a little bit of time to set up, and I actually use this kind of tripod because I don't have a proper tripod at the moment. My proper tripod, this one, it was damaged because I always keep using this. It keeps dropping. I keep using this. We had the tripod since 2010, and let me say that if you get a better camera than the smartphone Realme 6 Pro that I currently use for shooting my vlogs, you will expect way much better dynamic range, better quality, and overall better low light performance on your photos if you do this trick to your camera smartphones like Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. And I know not all of us have this feature on our cameras, so I'm gonna be linking down the application that I recommend in the description, especially those who are Apple users which don't usually have this feature. So I'm gonna also be linking down the application that I recommend for iOS users, so you might want to check it in the description. So that pretty much concludes today's video.